Could you imagine someone breaking into your home and kidnapping your child, children, or your husband? And you run to the door and you're watching the kidnappers drag them off. Could you imagine that? Now, what would you do if this happened? You would immediately call for help. You would immediately start doing everything you possibly could to get your child or your husband back. You would be on every news station that would listen to you, that would broadcast you, showing your husband's picture, showing your child's picture, and begging and pleading for people to help you because they had been kidnapped. And you would never stop until you got them back. Can I tell you, that is exactly what's happened when we have prodigal children, when we have wayward children that are going in a direction in their lives that we did not raise them to go. When our husbands decide that they no longer love us anymore, and they may be living with a Jezebel spirit. When they decide that they want a divorce, they want to break the covenant that all three of you, your husband, you, and God has entered into to pursue this Jezebel spirit. That is exactly what has happened. Satan has come into your home and he has stolen your children. He has stolen your husband and your marriage. So why do we not fight to get them back? Why do we not stand in the gap for them? Why are we not screaming for help? God, help us. Why do we sit back and go, well, this has happened and I'm just going to have to accept this? No, you don't have to accept this. Hear me when I say this. You do not have to accept anything that is not the will of God. And I promise you, divorce is not the will of God. Wayward children on their way to hell, that is not the will of God. You're probably saying, well, Shauna, what do we do about this? I'm glad you asked. You get in the Word of God. You see what the Word of God says about divorce. And you stand on that promise. And you speak in faith what the Word of God says. Guys, I can promise you, when God has spoken about something, He does not change His mind. Just because your spouse may have changed their minds, God did not change His mind. When God gave you those children, He entrusted you with them. So when they start going down the wrong path, you say, not mine, not my child, not on my watch. I see it all the time. The devil comes in, he steals from us, he robs our homes, and we sit back and we have no explanation for it. So we say, well, they have free will. Well, guys, talk to Jonah about his free will. Jonah had free will, but God changed Jonah's circumstances so Jonah would want God's will. Guys, that's what we have to pray. We have to pray for God to change their circumstances so they will want the will of God. Now, if you're hearing this video and you've never heard from me, you don't know who I am, I invite you to join me every Wednesday night and every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, to learn what we do when the enemy comes in and tries to kill, steal, and destroy everything that God has given us.